Professor, y'all know what time it is. Time for this shit. You already know, you saw the thumbnail. You saw the thumbnail. You saw what I wrote in there. And it seems to be a repetitive, stupid, like brain damage thing that people keep bringing up. That this idea that somehow, because we move overseas, it's because we can't get women in the States. I would rather stick my dick in the fucking sewer before I go with another American girl. It's just not worth it. They're so ratchety and not nice. I mean, I'm making more decisions like, do I want my house smell like Fabuloso today? I mean, that's my decision-making process. It's that fucking simple. It's not a question of whether or not I can get girls. It's not a question of whether or not if I go overseas, I gotta, go and hang out with prepagos and hang out in brothels. I hear this and I'm like, these are plantation bros. These are guys that are in the States that are making fun of us, or they're trying to anyway, trying to minimize that we're living over here. We're living, like physically getting on the plane, jumping off the plane, finding an Airbnb, establishing yourself where you want to be. That's simple. All the other stuff that they talk about, it seems to me like the things that people talk about us is really a reflection of their inside darkness, their dark mentality. And I think it's because they assume that, let's just say Colombia, for example, which, by the way, I never went out with poor girls. I never, ever dated poor girls. I never lived in a poor area. I've only lived in nice areas. So it's not like a question of, the cartel kicking the fucking doors in and shooting us or something like that, because the perception that Americans have of Colombia is wrong. It's completely wrong. And one of the reasons why older men like myself go to places like Colombia and marry girls that are like age appropriate, and they don't have kids, and they're not 400 pounds. Now, how hard is that to make that decision? If I have a choice between 10 different women and almost 90% of them are heavier than me, why in the hell would I waste my time with that? I could go to this country, or I go to that country, or I go to that country, and not only meet nice like people, like nice, not just nice women, but I'm talking about if you want to live overseas, you need to be in a circle of friends. You need to be insulated with a group of guys that have your best interests at heart. Because you come overseas, it's not so easy. If you don't know the language, it's not so easy. If you don't have tons of money, it's not so easy. If you don't have support from somebody there, it's not so easy. It's not. And mostly, like some of you guys don't know this, but most passport bros are ex-military. Almost every single one of us. You look at John Davis, he's over in the Dominican Republic. He's doing medical tourism. And he's, retired. And he's living the dream. He's doing his thing. And there's, all the fellows that are in Thailand, all the fellows in Colombia, all the fellows that are in Panama. And these dudes just like this. You will never see these people again. You will never. I know all some of you guys are like, well, don't they go overseas and marry these women and bring them back? No. If you bring one of these girls back, they'll be ruined. Like, they're so nice, they're so sweet, and that's their culture. And then we bring them to our shitty culture, which has rampant prostitution, rampant STIs, HIV is actually higher than men in the United States. Did you know that they almost double us? I mean, straight men, they outnumber us with HIV. So you see what I'm saying? There's no real benefit for me to do that because I'm not willing to take that risk. The other thing is that the economy sucks. Yeah. I couldn't even imagine. People are talking about $300 dinners. And I'm thinking to myself, I pay the housekeeper $250 a month. And she is like rich. Like, seriously, like that would be considered rich. some of us don't make that in a week. But that's not the point. The point is that you can go somewhere where you're treated like a fucking man. And you know, I got canceled over this years ago on YouTube. They came after me. This was prior to all this insanity. This was like early canceling. It was the same year that Good Bread got canceled. We were both suspended from YouTube for, I think, 2 or 3 years. And it wasn't because of anything that bad stuff we did. It's just what we said on YouTube was offensive to somebody. So they took it a step further and they deleted my Gmail. I mean, anything and everything that was associated with Google in every way was deleted. I had 30,000 subs that were legit, 4 channels, massive groups, Facebook groups, Instagram groups. No, that's not true. Instagram, no. I didn't bother with Instagram. But it started off with Facebook groups. I think we went back as far as MySpace. Okay, that's how far back I've been overseas. So if you guys want, I'm going to tell you how life really is. Because Austin brought something up. He's like, all my white friends, you know what I mean? The women are like, hi. And they're not doing the same for him. And Austin's a good looking dude. You know, he's not a bad guy. He's smart. He's young. And he's in shape. And for a guy like that, it's got to be easier than if you're 400 pounds. Now, I'm not saying that the women in Colombia are not attracted to guys that are fat, because that's not true. Women in Colombia love fat dudes. I don't get that shit. They are chubby chasers. They love a dude that, and they could be a dime, and this motherfucker might be selling mangoes in the park, and he can walk his ass into a bank and throw the rap game down and get a girl from that's working at the teller, and he might even have an account there. That's how easy it is for fellas to have game. Now, when I say game, I'm not talking about games as in lying. I'm talking about a structured way that you live and move and breathe and communicate in such a way that's attracted to such a person. If you're unorganized or if you're dumb, that's going to be hard to kind of hard to hide. Another thing too is that if you come to any Latin American country, you need to keep in mind in advance that the men in these countries are motherfucking cock blockers from hell. They're the worst cock blockers ever. Okay, and a lot of Colombian women don't even want foreigners. They know we're not going to be there very long, which means that they're required to play it fast and loose with you if that's the type of girl you got. It's not necessary. See, what the problem with most folks is that they see videos of like Cartagena and there's just prostitutes everywhere. And they're pretty and whatever, and dudes are talking to them. That is not hard. Those women will fuck anybody. I mean, they'll fuck a burn victim, an amputee, a fucking dead body. They will fuck anybody and anything for money. But that doesn't make up for the population of the women over here. Those are really the women that, if you're a dude that just likes to run through girls, those are the girls that you dealt with in the States. They're the same element. They're there to get your time, attention, and resources especially. But they're so beautiful that some of these guys have never, ever seen girls so pretty, and they fall in love with them, just like fall in love with a stripper. And I used to help guys, when they come down, transition system stuff. And there was a guy who was, of all things, a prison warden. And he had just turned 50 or something, and he retired. So he's talking to me, and his life is in chaos. And he met a girl in Medellin, and he insisted. He's like, dude, I think she's cheating. I go, well, send me a picture of her, and let me see. And he sends me a picture. She is clearly a grilla. If you guys know what a grilla is, it's like a zorra. A grilla it's like a slutty girl, easy girl. It's like low class girl. That's what that is. But they all have the same like uniform. And they're pretty. That's the thing. They have hair way down to their butt. They got boobs. They have little waists because they walk everywhere. They're not overweight. And they're sweet as could be. They're manipulators to the next level if you allow them. Because there's no requirement to pay these women for anything, for attention and time. Why do I need to pay somebody? I have anything and everybody I want. But if you're a guy that's hard up and you've not had anything for a while, and that is what you feel you need to do, you go ahead and do it because it's legal over here, right? It's legal in all other countries except the United States, and they do it more in the United States than in every other country combined. Then is there more prostitution in the United States than there is in all of Latin America combined? How is that possible? Because I've been around some countries, man, and I was like, dude, is everybody here a prostitute? And then you realize, oh, I'm hanging out in the tourist area. Oh, I'm hanging out in a poor neighborhood. Because you go to my neighborhood, there are no brothels. Like, ugh. There are no prostitutes walking on the street. It's none of that. It's none of that. And like, so it's like above, it goes over my head when people talk this way. It's like, you can't get girls in the States. That's why you go overseas. All right, whatever. This is my United States of whatever. You don't have to deal with none of that horse shit no more. You don't have to deal with people yelling at you, demanding things from you, screaming and yelling at you because you don't have money. You don't have to be with those girls. You can come down here and get the same type of girl that's materialistic, but she would be an oddity. Yeah, an oddity, because most people are humble down here and they have their own stuff. They have their own house. They might work a job. They might have several streams of income. So we can't minimize these people because their country has been portrayed as poor. And their women have been portrayed as almost all prostitutes. And the thing goes for the men. See, many people assume that when they go to Colombia that everybody does cocaine. Well, you come to find out that not only do Colombians not do cocaine, they fucking hate drugs. They hate what drugs did to the reputation of their country because of the drug addiction of the United States and the greed of the cartels and the greed of the U.S. government and the corrupt politicians involved with the drug trafficking from Colombia to the United States, because it is a real thing. What I discovered when I moved to other countries is that I wanted to mail stuff from Amazon or eBay. And I was in Puerto Rico. Puerto Rico is part of the United States, so they have USPS. And so I'm ordering stuff from Amazon, no problem. I get it in the mail, open my shit, put it away. I go to Colombia, and I'm ordering the same type of items like, vitamin D3 and all this stuff, big bottles like this. And what happens is it gets caught in customs because other countries besides the U.S. have some of the strictest customs when it comes to, importing products from the United States or wherever. For one reason, they want to make sure that you're not importing equipment to make drugs or ingredients to make stuff like meth that doesn't exist down there. And they don't want, people bringing illegal stuff in. There are certain things you can't mail. And so it's surprising to me that it blows my mind. I'll give you an example in Portland. And one of my friends steps out of a bar with a beer in his hand, and the cop goes, hey, buddy, I got to give you a ticket. I got to write you a ticket. He goes, why? He goes, well, you can't drink in public. And he's like, look behind you, sir. There's a fucking guy shooting heroin into his fucking eyeballs. And you're going to give me a ticket? Not me, but yeah, you follow me? So we're out. We checked out. Mentally, I've checked out. Spirits, I've checked out. Like I said, the only thing I think about these days is like, what flavor of Fabuloso do I want them to clean the house with? Crazy, but it's true. Now let's take a look at the picture that I sent you guys. Okay, we'll talk about the 5 most beautiful girls in Colombia. And you can just forget it because you don't know any of these girls. You don't know any of the pageant winners. You don't know any of the girls that are married to, the superstars in soccer and stuff like that. But you can have the same thing. It doesn't mean that you You, well, it's hard, so I'm just gonna give up and go where it's easy. Or it's too hard to find a conservative girl, so I'm gonna have to go to a brothel. I can't, I can't. It's all they say is I fucking can't. Can't speak Spanish. Don't have the money. Don't have the confidence. And it's sad. It saddens me because I used to be the exact same way until I got around people with confidence and insulated myself with a group of guys that were already living overseas and they were already 50 moves ahead of me. No, what's the mentality of plantation bros is that they don't want to see us do better. There's a lot of people who don't want to see you do well. A lot of people want to see you fail. And the people that you don't even know will criticize you for being overseas, for getting all the things that they would hope for in their dreams, but they can't go overseas because of, maybe child support or something like that. Or maybe they don't have money to go overseas. It's just as all a matter of priorities. I could say this: if you stop drinking Starbucks for 30 days straight, you got enough money for a plane ticket to go one way to Mexico, or one way to Nicaragua, or one way to Panama. See what I mean? You're spending $300 on coffee a month when you can get a $300 plane ticket round trip from practically anywhere in the States. It's silly. Silly. What else? Okay, so I disregard those comments made by the people in the States because they don't have anything to say again. They don't know me. They don't know what it's really like here. And they assume that what they see the worst of in the States is what it's like in Colombia. Or it's like that in Panama. Or it's like that in Mexico. Now, we'll tell you that there are a lot of people in these Latin countries that simply don't like us at all. Just because we are not them. We're not from there. We don't look like them. And you're going to get judged. And people are going to try and provoke you. And you got to be smart about it because all the people who try to... That's beautiful. All the people who try to provoke me here, when I first got here, the people that I thought were nice were not nice people. And the people that I thought weren't nice turned out to be the greatest people ever. Like crazy, beautiful, nice people. And I could start from one end of the road and go all the way down to every single neighbor on this entire street. That's what it is. Now you go and you meet them and you see their wives and you go, wait a minute. Okay, I get it. You can get above average. But if your sexuality, like the girl's sensuality or sexuality is their only asset, they have done some hoe shit. So don't be stupid. Don't be a simp enforcer either. Don't be a simp. Don't send them money. They're going to ask you for money. Oh, this was the best. I think I was somewhere. And this girl I was talking to online, it's like, good Lord, she was beautiful. Long hair, had big ass titties, and wearing a black dress all the time. Said she didn't have any kids. And then said, out of the blue, I was like, I need $500 or I'm going to have to work in a brothel. And I'm like, oh, I was talking to this girl for maybe 2-3 weeks. And then she told me that shit. Then I was talking to a nice girl in Cartagena. It was actually a very real hard worker. She worked in some kind of a furniture store. And she was beautiful. Like when she put on her uniform, you're like, God damn, this girl should be wearing something way nicer than that. But it's like an Office Depot uniform, And then you look at her and you're like, is this even real? I can't remember what her name was. She was something else. She was a black girl. She was so embarrassed. I would hit her up on video chat, a video call. And she would go like this. And I'm like, what? You want to talk? I would like you to buy me a wedding dress. I'm like, what? I just met you. I'm not buying you no damn wedding dress. She goes, come on. Can you send me some money so I can buy a wedding dress? I go, well, who's getting married? I love that girl to death, man. She was special. Called me. Hey, never used the fake papi, mi amor, none of that stuff before we'd actually met. She'd talk to me, hey, how's it going? It was tough, man. It was tough because I didn't have the language down. there's a word that's called bother. Okay, bother, the English word. The word bother, translated into Spanish, is molest, like molest. And so when I would say, please don't molest me. I'm like, I'm not molesting anybody. What are you talking about? Well, molesting means bothering in Spanish. And so that is where this thing went. Spiraled out of control. I ended up meeting a girl in Choco. We were together for about 8 years. And I had the very wonderful fortune of having people come down and see her. And was like, God, she's so pretty. I can't believe it. She has the most perfect butt. She had nice big rack tubes. These were not real. Everything else was real. Even her hair. Of course, her hair. But Choco girls usually don't have wigs. They might put extensions in their hair, but they don't pull this whole blonde weave bullshit. That's no. It makes them look cheap. That's why they don't do it. They don't wear wigs like that because they don't want to look cheap. They think that the hair hats are something that's it's an exclusively American thing, but it's not. This English and Jamaican and every other country that just happens to be black. But Panama, you'd be hard-pressed to find a weave around there. You'd find them, but not the chick you'd want. You're going to find girls sporting the old-school natural, the afro. It's cool. It's weird to look at, very strange to touch. It smells kind of funny, but adorable nonetheless, because I grew up with those kids. And that's a beautiful thing. When you can remember the old days where girls had pigtails and they had like the glass beads and their moms would braid their hair. When you were a little boy, you'd see that, you're like, wow, your hair is so different. And they would, can I touch your hair? Your touch hair. You gotta touch your hair. All right. Well, there's not really much earth-shattering new information. But you just want to follow a set of simple, suggestions that if you come down here, you're going to need a sponsor, someone to take care of you. Somebody's going to point you in the right direction. I mean, you don't need it. Most of these countries are safe, and you're not going to have any bad problems at all. It's just that what we see on the news, it portrays everything and everywhere that's cool as being bad. And so they have an opinion. People have an opinion based on the news. Now, I will tell you, a lot of times, the news could be very accurate as far as warning us. State Department warns us. They do not go to these areas. Do not do these specific things. And that's why. So anyway, I'm going to make this a nice short one because we got work to do. We got steaks to cook. And we got some mashed potatoes. What else we got? Emily made some cornbread. She made cornbread because it's called pan elote. Sweet cornbread. A little different than the American way of doing it. That's kind of dry. They put what's the milk concentrate? What's that shit called? Condensate? Milk condensate. That's what they put in the cornbread that she made for me tonight. It came out beautiful. It smelled so good. So what do you all think? If you enjoy what I had to say, do me a favor and hit that like button. Subscribe button, share it with your groups, whatever. I'd be happy to help anybody who has any questions about living in an overseas situation. It doesn't cost you anything. I'm not interested in your money, but I am interested in keeping you safe while you're down here. I appreciate you. I'm the Professor, and I'm adios, amigos.